In today's video, we're going to be talking about carb cycling, what it is, and how to do it. All right, you guys, I get asked all the time about carb cycling. What is carb cycling? Why would someone carb cycle? How do I carb cycle? Do you carb cycle? So I'm going to address all of those questions here for you guys today. First of all, do I carb cycle? Yes and no. So I believe that carb cycling is just another trick that we keep up our sleeves to use when you need to push through a plateau or when your fat loss stalls, like pushing through a plateau, and you just pull out that trick and you use it to kind of push you through. So I do not use carb cycling on an everyday basis or when I'm trying to maintain or just living my life. No, I do not carb cycle. But I should say I have carb cycled in almost every competition prep that I've done. Okay, so yes, there is a time and a place for it. I don't think it should be something that you do all the time. Okay, so what is carb cycling? So in a sense, carb cycling is where you mix days with higher carbs with days with lower carbs. Usually those higher carb days are also higher in calories as well, and the lower carb days are lower in calories. So you do that to, like I was saying before, push through a plateau. So if someone's dieting and their calories are getting pretty low and their carbs are pretty low, but they aren't quite to their fitness goal and their weight loss goal and they have hit a plateau, then we can throw in a carb cycle to get things moving again. So it's pretty effective at pushing you through a plateau. Some research has also shown that it can be helpful for your hormone levels. So when your hormones can kind of start dropping from those low carbs, a high carb day or two can help with resetting those, help you feel better again. So it's also really good for your mentality. If you're doing a low carb diet, to have those higher carb days to look forward to can be really fun. The key is to keep them controlled. So these are not free-for-all cheat meals, and heaven forbid they're not cheat days. They are controlled higher carb days. Some people like to call them refeed days, and that's the same kind of a thing. So there are so many different ways to do this. In my Fit Body Challenge, we have a day where there is a free meal, followed by a low carb day, and the rest of the week is a moderate carb day. So that's one way to carb cycle, but it's also very common to have a low carb day, a moderate carb day, and a high carb day that you cycle throughout the week. And it's also common to just have a low carb day and a high carb day and to just kind of cycle between them. But this is gonna depend on your body, what your coach thinks, if you have a coach that's implementing this for you. So I do want to give you a hard and fast idea of how you can implement this if you feel like it's the right time in your journey. So again, I would not start out with this strategy, okay? I always start out with some good moderate macros to get you started. Adjust those macros as needed for fat loss. And when you hit a plateau that's hard to push through and your calories are getting a little bit on the low side and you don't want to keep just dropping them, that's when you use a carb cycle, okay? So let's say, for example, our example person is having, let's just say 1,500 calories a day, okay? And let's say I don't want to drop her below that. And let's say her carbs are at 125 and fat's 40 and protein is 150. I don't even know if that adds 1,500. I just threw out those numbers. Okay, so her carbs are 125. That's what she's at right now. So if I'm gonna move her to a carb cycle, I may drop those carbs on the low day to maybe 110, 115 or so. And on the high carb day, I might bump them up to 165, 170, maybe have a 50 or so calorie spread there, okay? And then the protein is gonna stay the same on both days. And then your fats can either stay the same or they can go down slightly on the higher carb day. Okay, that's kind of individual. You can play with that and see what you like better. So you'll notice that the calories are gonna be a little bit higher on the high carb day. Again, depending on the person, you may do 2 low days to 1 high day. You might do 3 low days to 1 high day, 4 to 1. I always recommend starting out with 2 or 3 low days to 1 high day, and you can increase the low days to the high day ratio from there as needed, okay? So again, don't adjust that low to high ratio until you stall out and you actually need to, because you wanna keep your calories as high as possible over the week before you need to drop them. Keep them as high as possible where you're still seeing results and feeling good, able to push hard in your workouts, and still see those fat loss results. Don't drop them before you absolutely have to. All right, you guys, so I hope that gave you some information on carb cycling, what it is, when to use it, how to use it, and leave a comment below. Let me know if you've ever carb cycled, what you think of it, if you think it's a good strategy, if you enjoy it. Make sure you like this video with it, giving it a little thumbs up, and you subscribe to my channel by hitting the bell, and you'll always be notified when I post new videos. All right, you guys, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.